that has been in the frame this whole time, hasn't it? That's wonderful. Hello. I know that it's been a while. It's been more than a couple months. I can give excuses all day, but I'm planning a wedding. I started a new job. Lots of travel. There's a lot of things going on in my life right now. And I was also in a massive reading slump. I picked up a new hobby as well. I picked up cross-stitching. And so while I cross-stitch, I would listen to audiobooks. So I wasn't in a total reading slump because I was still listening to audiobooks. I couldn't find the attention span to be able to sit and just enjoy a book on my couch. This might be a controversial take. I don't think that this needs to be true for everyone, but for me, if that's the case, then it's a reading slump. Because when I'm listening to an audiobook, I'm not listening to something that's been on my TBR for years, or really something that I'm super excited to be reading. I know I'm not going to pick up as much as I would if I were physically reading the book. That's just how I do things. And when I'm listening to an audiobook, I'm multitasking. So I normally choose audiobooks based on the fact that I will be multitasking. Anyway, all that to say, I hadn't really been reading. That is until I hadn't really been reading anything that I wanted to talk about, to be clear. And that has been in the frame this whole time, hasn't it? That's wonderful. I did just drink that. It looks old, but I did it that's just drunk. Anyway, I recently finished A Parade of Horribles. I actually re-listened to all of the books. I had never listened to the Dungeon Crawler Carl audiobooks before. I had obviously heard about how fantastic they are, but I hadn't listened to them yet. I knew I needed to reread them before the new book came out, and I thought what a better way than to listen to the audiobooks while I cross-stitch. And it was so much fun. The little snippets at the end that act as like sound booth theater ads are so funny. And one of the books had Donut singing her own rendition of Wonderwall, which literally just like it actually had me crying. It was so funny and so silly. So yeah, I reread them all to get ready for A Parade of Horribles. A Parade of Horribles is what got me back into reading. Big shocker. It was very good. I rated it a 4 out of 5. I think that I didn't really jive too much with the racing theme of this level. It also, to me, it felt different. It felt different than the other books. And to be fair, I will say, when I finished This Inevitable Ruin, I also gave that book a 4 out of 5. That seems to be pretty on theme with me. Whenever a new book in a series comes out, I normally rate it a little bit lower for whatever reason. I don't think that's me trying to be a contrarian. That is partially because I think I'm excited to read the book and to finish the book so I can be a part of discussions. And then by doing so, I speed through it a little bit and I miss things. So when I went back and I reread This Inevitable Ruin, I loved it. I gave it a 5 out of 5. I remember when I first finished it, I remember talking to my friend about it, and I was like, yeah, I don't think it's probably my least favorite Dungeon Crawler Carl book, and that's not the case anymore. So that will probably happen with A Parade of Horribles. I obviously can't, I don't know if that will be the case. I'm curious what y'all thought about it though. Being rated very highly on Goodreads, so I think that maybe I'm in the minority feeling the way that I do. But yeah, it felt different. I think This Inevitable Ruin felt like it was on a much grander scale. And initially, what's funny is that's why I didn't like it. Well, you know what? Sorry, I'm thinking. This is the first time that I've talked about it. The Eye of the Bedlam Bride also felt bigger. I don't know. Maybe that's the thing. Each book kind of felt like the dungeon was expanding, getting bigger and bigger. And then with A Parade of Horribles, it felt like it was back. It was back. It was condensed. You had a lot less characters to keep track of, a lot less plot lines happening. It felt a lot more linear. I think that's what I'm looking for. It felt a lot more linear, whereas the other books almost felt like, I don't know, more open world. I don't know if I might have liked it more if I hadn't have just reread the entire series. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to sit on it. I will say, though, The Eye of the Bedlam Bride is still my favorite Dungeon Crawler Carl book out of the series. And I think that is an unpopular opinion. I don't know why, though. I thought that the lore in the book is really good. I love card-based magic, and I think maybe some people don't. And maybe that's why a lot of people seem to not really prefer that book. I think it's hilarious. I think that Uzi Jesus is so funny. Anyway, I think that book is, I love that book. It's so good. The other book that I have been reading is the one literally sitting in front of me right now and has been the whole time. I'm now realizing in the frame. But I am finally reading the last book in the realm of the Elderlings. I started reading this I brought it with me on vacation, and I was like, this is it. This is the time. I'm gonna start the conclusion. And then I opened it up to the dedication page, and Robin Hobb says, "To Fitz and the Fool, my best friends for over 20 years. And I closed the book, and I was like, now is actually not the time for that. I actually started reading it April 5th. I started reading it, I put it down. That was happening to me with a lot of books. I started a book by Adrian Chachofsky, put it down. Started and had to finish some books that my coworkers let me borrow. Started Songs of the Dead by Brandon Sanderson, put that down. I got an early access copy of that. Actually, I'm going to talk about that a little bit more after this. No, you know what? I'm going to talk about that now. So I've been picking up and putting down a lot of books. I do want to talk about Songs of the Dead before I start talking about Assassin's Fate. Songs of the Dead is a book by Brandon Sanderson that he is writing with a musician. I don't think that the musician is very well known. Peter Arulian. I thought that would be really cool because the magic, let me read this description for y'all if you didn't know, because I wasn't super familiar with this book. It says, when Jack Solomon, a struggling musician who works on London's West End, is killed, he awakens to a new reality in which light and music are used to create magic, and where living eras of the past sprawl between modern London, layer upon layer, all the way back to recorded history. Anyway, there's more. I love music, and I was like, what a cool concept. Like, I've seen Brandon Sanderson play with color when it comes to magic. I was like, music is gonna be really cool. So when I got access to the advanced reader copy, I was like, okay, sure. I don't like it. I got like 20 or 30 pages into it, and I was like, this is making me cringe. Like, I can't read this. I don't know, it's like the references are too on the nose to music. I just might not be the target audience for the book, because when I read it, I can tell that a man who loves dad rock is writing the book, and that's not a bad thing. If you like dad rock and you like corny jokes, then you might, and corny metaphors, then you might like this book. But I don't like those things. I am marking that as a DNF because it was not good. That tangent to say, I started finally reading Assassin's Fate. I think I seriously started it probably about a week ago, and I cannot put this down. I am so excited and so sad to finish reading it. It has been heart-wrenching. The thing with Robin Hobb is that basically nothing happened in this book. And I think that's really how a lot of her books go, is like, not much happens. Like, they're on a journey this whole book. I mean, things happen, but it's not like super intense, but it's also not like slice of life. It's, I don't know, but her characters are just so well done and beautiful that it's easy to it's just easy to read. Like, you want to read more. You want to know what's going on in these characters' lives, even if they're really not doing that much. Obviously, you're excited to get to the end. You're excited to see the resolution because they are on this journey, and you know there's going to be stuff happening. I don't know. It's beautiful, and I've got a little under 200 pages left. That's the other thing, is her books take me so long to read because they're so dense, and her paragraphs generally are like, so it's like just walls of text. That was just a brief breakdown of sort of what I've been reading lately. I am feeling more inclined to be reading. I'm hoping to post more, and I appreciate y'all being here. I'd love to hear what you guys thought of the newest Dungeon Crawler Carl book, and I'm very curious to know your opinions on that, because I seem to be in the minority with mine. Anyway, thank y'all for watching. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and yeah, thanks.